Hello and welcome to the National Leadership Briefing. My name is Doug Sharp and I will be your host for today. Well, it is Friday, September the 1st, and I thank you and congratulate you for joining us today. It is a decision that you have made to be here, and I understand that many of you have different reasons for joining us, but whatever they are, I hope that you understand that we all share the common desire to advance the things that we believe in into society, culture, politics, and government. So as we all come together, of course, and speak with a unified voice on these issues and the opportunities as they pop up, I am so thankful that you've made the decision to join us today to continue that good work. Well, let's get into the agenda today, because as I've always said, the people that show up on time have the benefit of receiving the agenda and understanding what we're going to be covering during our hour today. First of all, we're going to, of course, introduce the four pillars. For those of you who are brand new to the call, we want to thank you for joining us. So we invite you to dig a little deeper in the days and weeks ahead. Make sure that you don't jump out of the pool too soon. Hang out for a while. Make sure you get a good sense as to what it is that we're working to accomplish here before you make the decision as to whether to come back and stick around. So I encourage you to do that. One good way to do that is by reviewing the four pillars with us, and of course by reviewing the essentials videos. We call them the NLB essentials videos. We're going to show you that on the website today. And this time I'm actually going to be putting a bit of a twist on what I want you to do with the NLB essential videos. So if you've been on the calls before and you might think, oh my gosh, Doug, you're going to go over the NLB essentials videos again, there's a bit of homework I'm going to send you home with after today's review. So stick around for that. We've also got a special video that we're going to be sharing today, and it is a partnership video that I have recorded previous. In the last couple of weeks, I sat down and I recorded a video that we sent out or started to send out to people in our organization to encourage them to partner with us. And I'm going to be sharing that with you today, because that is the prefacing video for what I'm going to get into next in the boardroom. And that's going to be a real-time execution of showing you what it is that when I say we do something here on the National Leadership Briefing in the partnership video to demonstrate what it is that we would like you to partner with us to accomplish, I'm then going to move into the boardroom and we're going to give you a real-time example of watching us execute on that deliverable. We are going to be talking about the church. We're going to be talking about politics and bringing those two things together in real time in the boardroom. So that may sound a little bit you're unsure about what I'm talking about there, but stick around, you'll see. And then after that, I'm going to come back to the desk here because I have one final piece of encouragement that I want to share with you. I see something kind of welling up on the horizon here. It's quite a threatening future that we have in front of us in some ways. So I want to make sure you have that key piece of encouragement from me that I think is essential for you on the road ahead. It's going to help you to navigate. It's going to help you to stay on track and stay out of the ditch. So stick around right to the end, because I really do want you to get this piece of, well, we'll call it advice. I'm going to give you some advice based on what I see on the horizon. So it's going to be a busy day today. We've got lots to cover. Of course, I'm going to honor our commitment to always get you out at the top of the hour, but it is going to be a good hour. We're going to spend lots of time getting better at what we do and improving our ground game. And so stick around. I look forward to serving you on the immediate road ahead. In the meantime, let's watch this quick video, come back to the desk here and get started with the NLB Essentials and what it is that we rally around here on the National Leadership Briefing. And of course, that's the four pillars. Back in a flash. These are the things that we believe in. First, that parents have the right to raise their children the way they want. Second, that those we elect to serve us in civil government must respect and defend our right of belief and freedom of religion. Number three, that the laws and policies of civil government must provide for the safety and security of the citizens, especially the vulnerable among us. And number four, that it is inappropriate to heap debt upon the backs of our children and future generations. They came from you. They're your pillars. They're the things that you believe. Okay, let's get started. Now, the first thing that we like to do here is remind ourselves that when we come together, we've made a commitment, all of us together, to put aside the things that we differ on, set those denominational differences aside and perhaps our worldviews even aside, and just kind of just focus on advancing the things that we have come to agree upon are things that need to be advanced into society, culture, politics, and government. And those, of course, are the four pillars. Now, when I say the four pillars, I'm not going to get into full explanation of those today, but I am going to refer you to our website here where you're going to find information about those four pillars. So let me share my screen with you here. And so you can have a look here. First of all, when you go to the National Leadership Briefing website at nlbcanada.ca, the very first thing that you'll see on the front page of the website, of course, is a place where you can register for the briefing. Now, if you're already registered for the briefing, if you've already given us your email address and you receive the link yourself to your inbox, that means that you're also going to be receiving what we call the post-briefing notes. Now, that is after every single briefing, you'll always receive an email from us as to, first of all, a video recording of the briefing itself. So the 1 hour video recording of the briefing every month, plus you'll receive all of the resources that we reference during the briefing. So if we provide some what we call kingdom influence training and education materials or what have you, we'll make sure that copies of that are attached, but you must have been registered for the briefing. So if you're just watching this on YouTube, this video now, and you have not been to the nlbcanada.ca website and registered for yourself, go to that website and register by clicking the registration button right here on the center. Now, I told you we were going to also show you where information about what we call the four pillars is. So if you click on the drop-down menu and click on four pillars, you'll see on this page, you'll see the four pillar story, a video supporting the four pillar story to tell you about it, and then a downloadable link that says view the full story here, because these four pillars came from a very specific place. They came out of a series of surveys that we conducted back in 2016. So we want you to know the background of why it is that we rally around four very specific Christian principles and why it is that we're working to advance these in particular. So you can get that there. Now, as you go down a little bit further, though, you'll see the titles of each of the four pillars identified. First of all, parental authority. Second, right of belief. Third one is protection of vulnerable citizens that live among us in our communities. And finally, our children and future generations, and having that burden of debt that has been placed on their backs by civil government, having that lifted off of their backs. So those are the four things that we rally around here on the National Leadership Briefing. Now, if you go back up to the top, back to the menu tab, I also wanted to draw your attention to something called the NLB Essentials videos. Now, these NLB Essentials videos, when you click on them here, they will come up simply as the videos themselves that you can watch. Horizon Training, U Training, Sphere Authority Training Template, and the four pillar video. Those are what we consider to be the foundational videos that we want you to watch. They're only between 8 minutes and 15 minutes long, each of them, so it won't take you long to go through them, but it really helps you to build a foundation of understanding under you as to why it is we do what we do and how we do it. Now, especially today, when I'm going to go through what we call a service dashboard with you, I'm going to want you to watch these videos definitely at some point in time soon, so you better understand what it is I'm talking about. Now, I told you today that I wasn't going to just share the four pillar story and the NLB Essentials videos with you. I was going to ask you to do something different, a little bit special. So for those of you who were on the briefing today, whether you're new or whether you've been on the briefing before, I want to challenge you to do something. First of all, I want you to go to the four pillar story video, and I want you to look at that at downloadable view where it says view the full four pillar story here. I want you to go to that video, or that story here when you click on it. And I want you to read that story all the way through. And then I want you to share that page on the website with somebody that you know, and let them know when you share it about what it is we're doing here. Actually let somebody else know why it is that you believe that this four-pillar story has value, and why it is that you want to encourage them to join us on the next briefing. Because the whole thing that we are counting on here as a big part of our success is that what we actually refer people to the briefing. We bring more and more people to the briefing all the time, and we increase the number of us that are rallying around the things that we believe in and grow our coalition, so as to speak, so that we can speak with a louder voice when it comes to advancing issues like parental authority, right of belief, freedom of religion, protecting the vulnerable. All of these things, when we speak with a louder voice, in society, culture, politics, and government, we are more effective. So this is what I wanted you to do, was to share that four-pillar story. The second thing I wanted you to do was, if you go back to the NLB Essentials website there, right there, and you see things like the Horizon training video and the U training video, I want you to take those videos and I want you to go to the YouTube channel, copy the links, and share them on your personal page. Share them on your Facebook page. Share them with people that you know. Send a copy to your pastor. Let them know that there's a group of people that are gathering together and executing on these different things. So this is what I'm going to encourage you today, is not just view them, these videos, and view these resources, but share them. So share them with other people. And that may sound like such a fundamental or foundational thing to where there would be no need to reference that. But we were quite surprised at the number of people that said, yeah, that's fantastic stuff. We really enjoy it, but we just haven't shared it with anybody. So anyway, so that's the thing that I want you to do today with the four-pillar story and the NLB Essentials videos. All right, let's move on to the next thing I want to share with you today. And that is that we have constructed what we call a partnership video. This is a video that was just encouraged. Actually, it was encouragement by someone that we're working with for me to put together, to encourage people to take a quick look at some of the things that we're doing here on the National Leadership Briefing, and with the organization Canada Family Action, which just to clarify for people that aren't aware, Canada Family Action is the parent organization. We're going into our 25th year of serving the church here in Canada and serving Canadians. And this organization has birthed they have birthed the National Leadership Briefing. This is a project of Canada Family Action. So the partnership video that we did was to encourage people to come alongside financially and support the work of Canada Family Action, so projects like the National Leadership Briefing could continue to grow and prosper in Canada and continue to serve Canadians. So this is what we did. I'm going to share this video with you today for two reasons. One is that I want you, in the post-briefing notes today, you're going to find a copy of this video, a standalone copy of this video. You'll be able to share this with other people as well and encourage them to partner with us as well, so that we can grow our resources and grow our reach. But the second reason is because in this video today, I'm going to be going over what's called our service dashboard. Now, the service dashboard that I have in my hand is going to be explained in a little bit of detail in the video that's coming up to the people we are asking to partner with us. But then the reason why I want you to know that is because right after we watch the partnership video, you and I are going to go into the boardroom, and I'm going to give you a real live, in the moment example of something that we're doing and how we're using the service dashboard to execute a strategy to advance the principles of the four pillars into the political realm. Now, again, for those of you that are in the church and you're going to go, wait a second, Doug, you're going to get into politics. I don't know if that's right. Well, I just want you to stick around, because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be right in line with biblical teaching, and I'm going to be right in line with everything that you were taught from the pulpit. I'm not going to stray from that, but I am going to show you how it is that our service dashboard reaches and touches people and serves them where they're at with Christian principles, and it shows them how to advance them into their own sphere of influence. So stick around for that. And again, remember, we're going to come back to the desk after that. So here's the partnership video that I recorded from the other side of this very desk here just a short time ago, encouraging people to partner with us. And then from there, we'll go into the boardroom and explore that real life example of how we serve people using that dashboard I'm referencing. Okay, so enjoy this video. We'll be right back after this. Bye for now. Hi, thanks so much for taking the time to have a look at the video here that I'm sharing with this email. We're always trying to figure out the best way to kind of communicate our message in different forums and in different ways. And this is just one way that I felt that we could share information with people that we wanted to get into relationship with and look for these partnership opportunities, if I may. Suggest that as well. We have an awful lot going on these days at Canada Family Action. The growth rate at the National Leadership Briefing is really quite exciting, but there's a need for more resources. There's a need to expand our tent pegs and grow. And so this is just one of the ways that we felt that might be a good opportunity for us to share the information of some of the things we're working on with you, and then evolve to maybe a call and an opportunity to speak with you personally. So please let me just share a little bit about some of the things we're working on in one very specific area of growth that we have identified here with our organization. I'm going to share with you what we've kind of given the working title as our service dashboard. With Canada Family Action and the National Leadership Briefing, we've had an opportunity to get into relationship with pastors and church leaders across the nation, and we've talked to a lot of leaders in business in the marketplace, and also family, those that lead families and mothers and fathers, and there's just been a great opportunity for us to see from a macro level or that 30,000 foot level a lot of the need out there. So we tried to put together just what we felt was a framework of how it was that we were going to serve all of these needs with the gifts and the talents and the callings that have been placed on our hearts here at Canada Family Action, and of course the briefing itself. And so let me just share with you what we again call the service dashboard here at our organization, tell you a little bit about it, and tell you about how we're advancing and growing our ability to serve people in the communities of Canada. So in this model here that you see in front of you, actually this is something that actually came to me in the night. It actually was something that kind of started to gel in a dream that I had. And as I woke up, all of these pieces started coming together. And so I'll walk you through it. It's intentionally put in kind of like a code-like fashion, and there's a key that goes along with it, and you'll find that attached to this email as well as the copy that I've obviously shared with you. And we deliver it in code because we really don't want to always work overtly. We actually see the need these days to have a certain portion of what we do delivered covertly, not because it's secret, but just because we acknowledge that the tactics and strategies that we deploy, sometimes if you put them right out front in this environment, you create a target of yourself, and there are sometimes people will exploit weaknesses or vulnerabilities in your plan. And so we actually do this on a regular basis, but this is an expression of something that is not secret, but it is something that we want to make sure we have an opportunity to share in this type of a format for a very specific reason. So let me just give you an idea. First of all, this is think of this as like a service dashboard there is a whole bunch of needs that we've seen in the communities of Canada, whether it be in churches or families or in the marketplace, and we've divided it up into these different segments in a structure so that we can populate these areas. So, for example, this CAG, this first CAG stands for Citizen Action Groups. One of the things that we have identified in churches and with pastors specifically is that oftentimes they require the infrastructure to be established under the pastor's authority within a church, whereby they can serve the pastor in helping the pastor to navigate some of the complexities of the political and governmental sphere. So we help. One of the things that we have done is we've developed a citizen action group ministry template, which then we can help pastors and churches deploy within their churches. That is, again, this helping to build infrastructure that then can support pastors, gives them a better opportunity to look out on the horizon and see what's coming at them on the political landscape that might be either an opportunity or maybe even a threat to their church. And it's just an excellent tool for pastors. So we have populated a portion of our ministry to deploy resources through what we call citizen action groups. We also see, if you look at the CACs, this is what we see is a church's need in the future, and ongoingly, we see the need for church leaders and people in the church, lay people in the church, to have relationships outside of the walls of the church in not only the marketplace, but also at the local government level. So community action councils, which is what CAC stands for, we have a relationship that we've established with other leaders and developed a plan to deliver solutions on establishing these community action councils, which is a three-legged stool, so as to speak, where each leg is one is the local government working with the marketplace leaders and working with people within the church to identify the needs of the community and help serve and meet those needs. This is something that we are populating now as an organization. We also, when you get down to this section called KITE, this stands for Kingdom Influence Training and Education Materials. So KITE materials are all about when you have someone within your church family who says, I have a heart for this, or this is what I believe the Lord is leading me to do. We want to have an inventory of solutions and information and materials to respond and deploy to provide individuals within churches. Let me give you an example. If you've got somebody within church who says, I have a heart for protecting the shut-in elderly within my community, we have connections with what we consider to be a vetted and very high level and very sophisticated compassionate care program provider that we can then connect people to. So we don't necessarily develop all of these tools on our own, but we know where they are, and we've tried to build this inventory within our own organization of resources, whether it be for understanding and protecting your community against euthanasia, or maybe it's a heart for the preborn children and you want to learn more about becoming more activist related to abortion issues. Whatever the issue is that's on your heart, we're building a library, an inventory of solutions. And for wherever there isn't a solution, I'll pop up here to R&D. We understand that there's a need to help develop new tools. So research and development is, if you've got people within your church that have what they believe is something that's on the heart of the Lord, and they have it on their hearts as well, but they don't have any existing tools, we actually will come alongside, and through just coaching and consulting, we'll actually help develop the new tools within those churches. And that is actually leads me to this, which is what the C&C is. That stands for the coaching and consulting that we do. So a lot of my time is actually when somebody does say, hey, Doug, I have a heart for this. They might even say something like, let me give you some examples. Somebody say, hey, look, I have a heart to become more activist in building relationships with my local member of parliament, and I don't know where to start. So I'll get on a call. We'll spend some time. I'll explain where they're at in their community. I'll have done a little bit of research on where they're at, who their member of parliament is, and best ways to approach them entering the office, good things to talk about, how to be prepared for your meeting, things like that. Now, that's one example, but it could be a crisis situation where maybe a pastor or a church leader is under siege by local media and might need some assistance there. So we provide that coaching and consulting to pastors, leaders, people, citizens at large who want to exercise their influence. That's what it's all about. Now, let's just going around the whole template here, and we can get into it more detail if we have a chance to chat. But this is just communications. One of the things we've seen in the church is that many churches just simply need, and I'm talking about physical inbound, outbound communications with their community, and we have tools and resources that we can refer people to that just helps them with that inbound, outbound traffic and communications tools, whether it's just telephone or whether whether it's internet or website, that type of thing. We also have broadcast. That's what that stands for there. One thing we saw, especially when COVID came and a lot of the churches went online, was that there was some churches that were really doing well with their broadcast technologies and some churches that were having some difficulties and challenges. And so what we tried to do was look in the field that we were serving and identify those who are really doing it well, that were willing to serve and help other churches, so we can connect up churches who want to up their game on the broadcast side of things. This stands for, MCAT stands for Media Communications and Apologetics Training. Again, we are not trainers in media communication and apologetics, but we do know who does a great job there. So that's something we're happy to communicate and help share. PAW training, it stands for Praise and Worship Training. Some people just want to, they just want to connect with some people who really either do teaching on it or execute at a high level, and they want to up their level of praise and worship. And then this prophetic gifts. One of the reasons why that's on the dial is because we had, especially around, interestingly enough, around election times, in the last few years, we've seen a lot more churches and those with prophetic gifts entering the conversations about outcomes of elections and where we're at prophetically. And there is a heart, obviously, to let that expression be freely expressed. However, there are people who kind of help guide the execution of the prophetic gifts and not manage, but we just found that there's some people where they trip over their prophetic gifts in their churches, and others that have really got it sort of figured out as to how to work it into the conversations that take place in the temporal sphere, especially when you come into compressed timelines like elections, for example, where there's a lot of chaos in the temporal and there's a lot of conversations going on, and then all of a sudden you've got prophetic words being uttered and shared within that. So again, we're just trying to be there to come alongside and help refer when it comes to that. Obviously, on the outside here, where you see SPT, we learned one thing is that as we execute here at the National Leadership Briefing and Canada Family Action, there is a need to have these strategic prayer teams in place. As you can see on the dial and the dashboard, it surrounds everything that we do. We believe that the prayer should go out ahead of any strategy that's deployed, and so this overarching and encompassing envelope of prayer is something that we want to help people build. We've got existing relationships with national prayer teams. We've got relationships with local prayer teams, and anything that we can do to help people to utilize this same strategic prayer team strategy, we want to be there to help them and come alongside. Now, when you get into the inside here of the circle, this is more along for the pastors and leaders themselves. Pardon me, that's lighting at the wrong spot. But you've got, see the KC there, that's kingdom compliance. That's helping people to bring people alongside them who can speak into their ministries, people who are long in the tooth and have a lot of experience in certain areas and can advise and counsel. You've got site security, that's site sec that you see there, that's site security. Obviously, churches right now, as we move into this new evolving world that we're in, the security of churches is a conversation that's taking place out there. We know individuals who can help with that and have a level of understanding and knowledge in that area. And then Spec Ops actually stands for Special Operations. And that is when you find, for example, I'll just pick one example that we get a lot, is somebody, say, grabs a hold of one of our kingdom influence training and education pieces of material because they have it on their heart to do something. The church that they're in, the pastor will come alongside and say, okay, great, this is what the Lord's called you to do. And then they can kind of help direct them to become basically special operators. So they become, because they've got the heart of God, they understand the heart of God in this one area, they feel called to serve in that area, they need the resources, so maybe we might have to develop some new tools for them, we might need to coach them and consult with them, but we want to launch them under the same kind of discipline and training as you would a special operator, say with a military style training and education template. So that special operators within a special operation or within a special program that you're running, we want to be there to help as well and support that. Now, OW in the center there stands for Overwatch, and that is that we encourage the pastor and the church leaders and the priests, whoever it is that we're dealing with, to really keep an eye on the horizon. And so we've got training that we provide them to help them to keep an eye out, looking far into the distance, so that you don't get blindsided with the things that sort of come up and pop out of nowhere, it appears. But oftentimes we found that the things are sort of welling up on the horizon in their communities, and through relationships like the National Leadership Briefing and staying in relationship with us, we believe that we can help keep then an eye on the horizon with them. So we serve them there by bringing things to their attention far sooner than perhaps it might be sneaking up on, or might seem like it sneaks up on them quickly. So that's our service dashboard. I'm going to stop sharing that now because I want to really just get back to this and close it out here and say, really, this is one of the things that we're doing is we're populating our service dashboard. We're continuing to use the National Leadership Briefing. We're continuing to work to advance the principles that you see behind me. If you go on our National Leadership Briefing website, you'll find these pillars here. These are the principles that we're working to advance always in all of our work here. Everything from parental authority to right of belief, freedom of religion. We've obviously definitely have a heart for the vulnerable, because that is a heart we share with the church. And then our final, the thing we focus on and want to advance is a real requirement of civil government to lift the burden of debt off of our children and future generations. So in all of our work, every time we see an opportunity to advance that, either as an organization or to serve someone who feels that's on their heart locally, we're going to be there to help serve them. But we really are looking for partnership, and we're looking for to increase our resources. We want to grow our office team. We want to grow our technical abilities. I'm working with a coach right now, and actually this whole video is really an expression of that. Is the coach has advised me, look, share what you're doing with others and where you want to grow to the degree that we can. To the degree that we can. There's a level of it's not, again, not top secret or anything, but there's a level of security that we always want to maintain around the conversations and the things that we do and how we serve. But I'm happy to explore this opportunity with you to grow with us and to be a part of this vision. So please consider getting in touch with me. I'll leave it with you. I'm going to pray about the possibilities and hope that you respond. But let me know if there's an opportunity for you and I to talk some more, because I would be happy to take that call and explore this more. All right. Thanks so much for your time today. I'll leave it at that, and have a wonderful day. God bless you. Okay, well, there you have it. That is the video that we have been sending out to people that we're in contact with, people we're serving, people who might not know that there is a financial need, encouraging them to consider either directly partnering with Canada Family Action and jumping on board and joining us in this journey, or inviting them, of course, to contact me directly. Now, what I'd encourage you to do personally is, if you wanted to see the work of this organization continue, then definitely send out that video and get them in touch with this website here where they can partner with us, or encourage them to get in touch with me directly. Now, I'm open about sharing my email address here, obviously. Yeah, I can be reached at president@familyaction.ca, or you can go to the website familyaction.ca, but have them send an email to me directly. Or if you have questions, send me an email directly, president@familyaction.ca. And if you'd like to partner with us, obviously, in our work on the road ahead, then please consider doing that. But in the meantime, though, I told you I was going to actually take what we were reviewing in that partnership video and demonstrate for you exactly how that service dashboard comes in and becomes active, and how we take action using the different components of it. And we're going to do that in the boardroom right now. And it's going to be a conversation related to engagement in a political process within a political party. Yes, indeed, we are going there today. And so please stick around. It's going to be exciting sharing that information with you. And then again, we'll come back to the desk to wrap up on this very important piece of advice. Stick around right to the end, because again, I've got something I believe you're going to need to hear for the road ahead, especially with what's coming up in the fall and what I believe is an imminent threat on the road ahead. All right, so let's get over to the boardroom right after this quick video, and let's start putting the service dashboard into action. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.
The bear has been poked. It's time to wake up from our slumber
and stand together, united as one. One family, one body, one church.
We will not walk past the vulnerable.
Say nothing, do nothing, and turn a blind eye.
We are citizens of a great nation.
We are good Samaritans to our neighbors. You are not alone.
We are the largest unified voice in Canada. So we stand united. This is our rally cry. We are Christ to our nation. This is our battle cry. He shall have dominion from sea to sea and from the river unto the ends of the earth. Righteousness will reign. Justice will prevail. We are united.
Okay, well, it's good to be in the boardroom once again. As you know, I love it here. This is one of my favorite places, and I'm always going to say that because I get so excited when I get a chance to share anything in here, because this is where we drill, this is where we train, this is where we take us from here to here, this is where we develop new competencies and we grow our confidence. And when we have more confidence, we take effective citizen action. And when we do it all together, it just makes it fun. And remember, the number one rule of taking civic action, any kind of civic action, is that if you are not having a good time, you are doing it wrong. So we always encourage people, when it starts becoming a grind out there, no matter what you're engaging in, as you're working to advance the principles of the 4 pillars, if you're not having a good time, you've got to check back with us, because we're going to tweak some things and maybe find out where some of the challenges are and get you back on the right track, because having a good time is a part of it. Really, it's a lot of fun engaging even in the political realm, which is, again, what we're going to be talking about here today. We're going to take the church and the political realm, and we're going to sort of bring them together and have them touch. And it's not going to be painful at all the way we're going to do it. So anyway, let's get started here. So we're going to be focusing, first of all, of course, on utilizing and demonstrating for you how we utilize the service dashboard to execute strategy and meet the needs of the local church. Now, we have right in front of us right now a perfect example. Today is September the 1st, and on the immediate road ahead, and I'm talking about this week, this next week coming up, we are rolling right into what is called a policy convention for a major political party. And so what we have done as an organization is that we identified many months ago, even as far back as a year ago, that there was going to be this opportunity for us to speak into the policy of a political party coming up on the horizon. And we said to ourselves, we must bring this to the attention of those people that we serve. So this is what I'm going to do today, is I'm going to show you the service dashboard as we use it. But I'm also going to share with you the perspective of when we give the service dashboard to a pastor for them to use, or a church leader or a priest within their church. We give that to them and encourage them to sort of think in these terms as well, so that we can work better together. So first of all, how do we use it? Well, first of all, at the National Leadership Briefing, if you've done the homework and you've done the things that we've encouraged you to do, you've watched the U training video. And the U training video is one of the big parts about that, is to make sure that as you come on to the National Leadership Briefing and as you begin engaging with us, you realize one very important thing is that we want you to stay where you're called to be. We don't want to take you from where you are and drag you out onto, for example, this political battlefield happening in Canada. We want you to stay where you're at, where you're called to be, and we encourage you to check in, pray and check in and say, Lord, if just show me where I'm supposed to be. And so we start with you remaining where you are supposed to be. So if you're sitting in your local church and you're saying to yourself, you know what, I just really want to know what God wants me to do, and then God places something on your heart, we want to make sure that if you're willing to share that with us, we can come alongside you and we can help you get where you want to go. And of course, everything we do is in submission to the authority of the local church leadership, because that's your church family. That's where you're supposed to be. We're not trying to take you away from anything. We're supposed to add to, not replace the established model or the established structures you have in place now. So you stay where you're supposed to be. But we encourage you as an individual to join us on the National Leadership Briefing so that we can provide something we call Overwatch for you. Now, if you look on the service dashboard, remember we talked about that little OW there. So in our hands, we're holding on to the dashboard from the center, and we're looking out on the horizon. And you'll hear this discussed in the horizon video. You're noticing some common language there. We're looking out on the horizon and we're looking for opportunities where you can capitalize on them, serving where you're called to be, and staying within the areas that you believe God wants you to focus on. But what are the opportunities and what might be some threats you need to be aware of on the horizon? So we provide this Overwatch as a National Leadership Briefing. We also have tools and resources to train you as a special operator. We can actually equip you by providing you things like kingdom influence training and education materials. So let's make a real life example of this. You're sitting in your church and you say to yourself, hey, wait a second, I have a heart for unborn children. I have a heart for preborn children. I have a heart to confront this issue of abortion in our nation. I want to care for mothers. I want to perhaps help develop pregnancy care centers, or I have a heart to work with mothers and provide them with options and choices, or I want to provide them with resources that they can more easily acquire, equipment and formula, maybe make it cheaper in Canada for little children. Anything that we can do to help young moms and help protect preborn children. Okay, that's something, it's on God's heart, I'll tell you right now. There's a lot of people sitting in the pews across Canada who have that on their heart as well. Well, this is an example of how it might surprise you. This is an example of how you might be inclined to take a look at and be engaged with the National Leadership Briefing, because what we saw last year, like I said, was this policy convention coming up on the horizon a year out, which is coming up this next week in Quebec City. Now, like, we've come the whole year, we're here now. And at that policy convention, we knew that not only could we help to bring the issue of the safety and security of preborn children to the convention floor and have it discussed there, but for those people that were sitting in the pews that we're serving, we could actually encourage them to engage in the process as well and show them how, and teach them and train them how to engage on the political landscape to help move forward the issues of protecting preborn children. So that's what we began to do. We began working with teachers and with people who were pastors within churches and parents and people who had these on our hearts. And we started to basically draft them into the cause by saying, look, we've got this thing coming up on the horizon. We can prepare for it. This is how it works. We showed them how to join delegations. We taught them things like, hey, what is a policy book anyway? So we actually brought the policy book of a political party to their attention. We showed them what policies are in place within this policy book related to preborn children, ones that we liked, ones that we didn't like. We actually raised them up and told them, look, if you want to have a voice within a political party, you might need a membership. So we introduced them the idea of membership again, but they're all in their pews and in their own communities, serving what God wants to do. We're just showing them that this is an opportunity where the realities of the threat to preborn life actually are going to be discussed. We're going to be discussing protecting children and some of the ways that they're threatened at these policies conventions. We also showed them how they could become delegates to conventions. So this is like a delegate guide. We just brought it forward and said, look, if you become a member of that party, you could actually show up on the floor of the convention at convention time, and you could vote up or down whether you support or don't support different policy suggestions related to, again, preborn children. They're also going to be discussing at that same policy convention, they're going to be discussing the rule book for the entire party. So let's say the rules of the party are not, this particular party, let's say that the rules aren't as strong as they can be and set up in such a way to provide the adequate voice within the party to speak up for preborn children and against the abortion, for example. So we look at the rule book, we try to establish, hey, well, how can we amend the rule book of the party? Because if they're going to be doing that at the convention as well, we want to be there to speak to it. So again, you've got a person who's standing up and going, look, I just want to protect preborn children, and the National Leadership Briefing comes alongside them and says, let's see how we can help, because we have this opportunity off on the horizon that's coming up in front of us, and you can participate in that. Now, that's one example. You think about it. You've got all these people with all these gifts, these different giftings and special things that God has placed on people's hearts, the things that are on his heart that he wants to see advanced. We have got, for example, we have gifts of relationship, people who are really relationally gifted and have wonderful counsel and advice. Perhaps there's some retired or more elderly people, or long in the tooth people, as we say, who have a lot of wisdom, that have a heart. They're retired from their business, but they want to sow into other people. Well, maybe they want to, as a retired person, they have more time on their hand. They want to build relationships with their local member of parliament, or they want to go out and they want to get to know their local school board trustees, or maybe they want to have a regular prayer session where they can actually bring people together and pray for very specific needs of people in the political realm in their community, either at the municipal, regional, or federal levels. There's so many different varieties. We've seen them all. They come to us and they say, well, I want to do this and I want to do this. And that's good, because that's what we teach you is, don't have us tell you what you should be doing. You find out from God what he wants you to do, and then let us come alongside you on the National Leadership Briefing, providing you overwatch, looking out into the future, onto the horizon, where you can see opportunities to advance the things that we believe in together, while doing what you're supposed to be doing into society, culture, politics, and government, training you as a special operator and providing you with the kingdom information or kingdom influence training and education materials that you need to get there. That's us. That's the National Leadership Briefing. Now, this is where it gets really exciting. What if we get a pastor who actually comes alongside us and says, wait a second, I want to kind of like see the world through the same sort of a structure where I'm going to place myself in the center. I'm going to be someone who provides local overwatch for my own church. I'm going to get into a relationship with the National Leadership Briefing, and maybe I don't have time to join the briefing for an hour every month, which, by the way, I think is not very much time. I think everybody should be able to find 1 hour once a month to join us. But maybe we can provide overwatch to our church family and look out onto the horizon for the threats or the opportunities within our own communities. Maybe I should be focused on site security, and maybe I should make sure I've got kingdom compliance people around me to make sure that as I venture out into special operations like the Conservative Party of Canada Policy Convention, maybe we're going to put a special operator from our church into that convention to go out there and advance the things that we believe in into our community from the political level. Maybe somebody's called to be a political operative in that area, and we're going to dispatch them there. But we need this. Well, we better get some kingdom influence training and education materials. And you know what? It wouldn't hurt if we had a citizen action group, which was the infrastructure under the pastor to help me navigate using some of these political and governmental tools. And of course, we want to stay in relationship with the National Leadership Briefing, and we want to make sure that we also also stay in relationship with the local business leaders in our community and local government leaders. And of course, let's, as a church, let's make sure that we surround everything we do with not just general prayer, but these are strategic prayer teams that are aware of all of these different aspects of what we're doing here and praying for the connections between them and praying wherever there are vulnerabilities that they would be covered. And we get very, very specific when we start talking about strategic prayer teams as opposed to general prayer teams. So strategic prayer teams as well. So as you can see, there's us doing what we do here, encouraging people with you training and all of the things we provide. But can you imagine if all of a sudden, again, if we just took a portion of our brain and rewired it a little bit and said, wait a second, if I started seeing the landscape of Canada and how I fit in there as a church leader, and as someone in my community or church family, if I started seeing the world through this lens, it might be helpful for me on the road ahead, especially if we get into perilous times. And that's where I wanted to finish off today at the desk with what I consider to be is a very valuable piece of, let's call it advice. That's what it is. It's advice, is that if things start getting nasty out there, I think there's something, that one little thing that's going to help a great deal if we keep it in mind. So thanks so much for letting me share this real life example, because right now in Quebec City, it's September 7th to the 9th. We have delegations from all across the nation going to this policy convention. And there are people just like you and just like me that share our views and values that are embedded within these delegations, that when the time comes to put their hand up for protecting the elderly or preborn children's rights, or there's a policy that we're going to be voting on that has to do with males in female sports. There's going to be a policy that is going to be discussed and voted on whether it's appropriate to advance or to remove more additional restrictions on accessing euthanasia in Canada. So all of these things that are on the heart of God and on the heart of the church are going to be discussed within this structure of the policy process and policy convention within this party. And we're going to be there because we had Overwatch. We saw it on the horizon. We deployed special operators into this, and we actually made sure we were capitalizing on this opportunity. All right, so let's go back to the desk and make sure we have enough time to share this one last piece of advice with you. Thanks so much for your time. Right after this video, we'll wrap it up. Bye for now.
We're crying out for the church to be the church in the community.
The ecclesia is a relational model that God has been calling forward.
Being present is about showing up on a regular basis.
So I'm convinced that God will birth a love in one's heart for the place He has put you in. And sometimes that requires a process. Sometimes we don't initially love the place where we are or where God is sending us, but we respond in obedience.
And I believe there must be the restoration of the cry of God in the heart of us as leaders to cry out to God for our cities.
And for those of you who have a heart for your local community, then I would encourage you to participate in what we call Transformer Calls, focused on your engagement and the love that you have for your communities. Now, for those of you who've been on the briefing before, you recognize that as the next Transformer meeting Zoom call. If you're new to the briefing, let me just go over that quickly. This is, again, the service dashboard. We are, as one part of our service, we really want to see these community action councils advanced in communities, these relationships between the local church, municipal government leaders, and marketplace leaders. And so we have another Transformer Zoom call, we call it, scheduled for October the 12th. That's Thursday, October the 12th at 11 a.m. Eastern. Now, I'm going to put in the post-briefing notes all of the information you need where you can register for that call and how you can participate. And also, I'm going to provide additional information to the Facebook page where you can find all of the previous calls, these training sessions that we've had throughout the past year, so you can kind of get caught up before October the 12th. Not that you need to be caught up for this next call, but definitely want to see you on that call if you have a heart for your community and you like the idea of the local church being in relationship with marketplace leaders and municipal government leaders at that local level. All right, great. Well, then let's bring it on home. We are on the home stretch, and I promised you that I was going to provide you with what I feel is some pretty solid advice here, especially in light of what I believe we're going to be facing on the road ahead. And it is quite simply this: that we need, as people of faith in Canada, I believe, on the road ahead, to be resolved in the things that we believe in. That is my advice. That is to take a serious look at all of the things that you believe in your life, in your personal life, and in your church family life, and identify what they are and commit to yourself to be resolved in those things. Now, let me give you a few examples of the things. I've just gone through this exercise myself recently because I believe it's important, is that I am looking at my personal relationship, my marriage, and I am resolved that our marriage, no matter what happens on the road ahead, outside of our marriage, it is not going to impact the heart that I have for my family and for my wife. And I believe being resolved in that, and just affirming, just saying, you know what, I am resolved that our marriage is solid and that our marriage serves a higher purpose. All of these reasons that you might have for your marriage, and commitments that you have for your wife or your husband, be resolved in those commitments. Make sure that that's stated again in your mind and in your heart. Another thing is I made took a second look at our church family commitments that we're making as a church together. Go on the website, take a look. Like I looked at our website and I just reminded myself that, hey, we're a church that believes in staying connected to the community. So I am resolved that as a member of my church family, I want to stay connected to the community in relationship with the other members of my church family. So I am resolved in that. I'm also resolved in the truth that I find in the Bible. I need to remind myself, maybe you do too. I don't just say, I am resolved no matter what happens on the road ahead. I am committed to knowing that this is the truth that I can rely on and depend upon. And those truths that I find in here, when they're challenged in culture and society, I can just rest assured I don't have to remake a bunch of decisions on the road ahead about the things that I believe in, because I already made that decision back then that I would be resolved in that moment, especially those times where the resolve is tested. You've heard that expression. It is a testing of your resolve. Well, that is what is, I believe, going to be happening on the road ahead here in Canada. We've got a lot of economic and societal pressures that are going to be coming on individuals and families and churches. And I just really believe that it's going to help if we not only stay connected to each other and remind ourselves about the things that we believe in together, but that we are resolved in our own personal beliefs, our spiritual beliefs, and the things that we know to be true. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I am going to make sure that in the post-briefing notes today, again, that you have a few things. Just remember, I'm going to give you links for the 4-pillar story, for the website where you can find those videos where you can share. Just to recap, I'm also going to include the partnership video standalone that you can review again, and you can either act upon and partner with us at Canada Family Action's website, or you can get in touch with me, or you can share it with other people and ask them if they'd like to partner with us. That's going to be included as well. I'm also going to include the links to the Conservative Party of Canada's policy website, because I think if you are interested in policy and engaging on any of these issues that you have on your heart, I think you'll find that in the political realm, those conversations are taking place. They are making decisions all the time in offices all across the nation on the things that God cares about. And if you want to be in the room and and participating in those conversations, we have the service dashboard to deploy to help you get where you need to go. So that'll make sure that's included as well. And of course, I just obviously want to invite you to stay in tune with us and come back and see us again for the October briefing, where we're going to provide you a post-mortem of the Conservative Party of Canada convention, and hopefully share some really great news about some of the principles that we've advanced into that party related to the things that we believe in, like the 4 pillars. Well, anyway, thanks so much for your time today. That's all the time we have. Appreciate so much you being here today. I just want you to know that we are going to continue to pray for you. We're going to continue to pray for your family. And of course, we will continue to pray for this great nation of Canada. However, in the meantime, God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless this great nation of Canada. Bye for now.